You're listening to Beyond the Buy with Alissa, Menke, and Angie, Grau.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Buy. Today, we are going to be focusing in on holiday campaigns, which, we are taping this, knocking on the door of July 1, which feels a little bit early. But as we were really diving into the heart of this topic, we actually realized that, in fact, we may be a little bit late. By the time that this gets published and people have a time to, really consume and make plans, you already might be behind the gun. So our apologies. So today we're really going to focus on Angie and asking Angie questions because Angie has actually been through holiday from a retailer's standpoint when she owned the bookstore. And so she has a lot more hands-on experience with what that typical buying cycle looks like. And so I think she adds a little valuable perspective that I don't personally have. So let's just jump right in. It used to be Black Friday, right? People went to bed early. They were up at before the crack of dawn, waiting in lines that wrapped around Best Buy or Target, wherever the big sale was that year. And Black Friday was the be-all, end-all of holiday shopping. You didn't really see much before. And then the things afterwards, there would still be sales, but never really to match Black Friday. That doesn't really seem to be the case anymore. How has that holiday shopping window changed?
Yeah, so obviously Black Friday is still a thing. Cyber Monday is relatively new in our lifetimes.
Yes.
As that sales cycle goes. But those are still big pieces of it. But now it's more, right? There are lots more events, shopping events for small business as well as big business that are relied upon for holiday sales and just more spread out sales in general. And since we are at the end of June, but Amazon Prime Days just wrapped up and Walmart had their version. So that is just wrapping up.
Yeah.
And so you're starting to see, depending on the type of shopper, it really isn't about that late, November, December shopping, but it's going to be a longer cycle. So you're going to have things like those Amazon days, Walmart days, Veterans Day. And my sister's boyfriend frequently talks about how Memorial Day sales or Labor Day sales may even be better than what you see during.
I have heard that before.
Friday.
Depending on the product.
Yeah. There's just more ways to get the information too, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have so much at our disposal. And so it's not like before where we'd sit on Thanksgiving Day with your paper and you're going and making your plan.
That strategy of we're going to go here and there.
You had your list and you had what you needed, the Christmas lists were all ready in time for Black Friday.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore, in part because of the various type of shoppers and the various opportunities for shopping the deals.
Yeah. And do you think that maybe the economy and sort of the way that inflation post-COVID has impacted this necessity of we need to stretch the shopping season out even further to try to wring out the most spending as possible?
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
I think so. And I think that speaks to different types of shoppers too, because you have those who are shopping those deals and they're being diligent about what they want to find. And they're going to look at the end of season to maybe purchase clothes that might be given as gifts or things like that. So definitely the economy is always going to play into retail in a big, big way.
Yeah, I know that it used to be a Black Friday thing where by the time Black Friday was over, I was probably 80% done with my shopping. Now it seems more like I am 2 weeks out and frantically, I am really motivated by what is the very last day that I can order this online for the free shipping, or really trying to hit Small Business Saturday sales because I'm much more intentional at this point in my life about spending money locally than what I was when I was in my early 20s and had to make my dollars really stretch. But also, I'm kind of looking for sales throughout that second half of the year because I don't like the idea of paying more for something than what I think I should.
Sure.
And I am a lot better now at being able to store something and keep it as a surprise. May not find it when the holiday comes, but
I would forget. My aunt has done this too, where she forgets because she starts shopping so early for her grandkids. And then by the time she sits down to start wrapping, she's like, oh, I have, 3 times as much for this kid and this kid.
Oh,
So then
yeah.
she's having to kind of maybe set things aside for birthdays or figure that out.
Sure.
But yeah, that is the one hard part about early shopping is remembering.
Why do you think that holiday campaigns need to start earlier?
A big part of it is going to be just because you have those different types of shoppers. You're going to have early planners, right? So those people who know what they're going to be getting for the kids. And kind of like you mentioned, they're shopping the deals really all year, if not just in that last 2 quarters of the year to really get the biggest bang for their buck. You're going to have deal seekers as well who fall into that. You've got loyal customers who are going to kind of be consistent, but still you want to make sure that you're getting in front of them and the last minute shoppers, which I'm more guilty of now than I used to be. Partly, I think, because I had the store and I was so focused on that and making sure
Sure.
we were getting our sales. And I'm like, oh, yeah, my kids. What
Yeah.
should I do for that? But a big thing is people are just shopping sooner. And there's stats out there. I know even like the National Retail Federation, I want to say, it was an F, NRF, has come out and said that it's like nearly 50% of, shoppers are saying that they've got the majority of their shopping done before like November or by November. And so that means you're looking at, a big chunk happening prior to getting to Black Friday and to Small Business Saturday, which is that Saturday right following. It's the very next day. For those
Yeah.
of you who don't know, it's a great time to go support your local businesses. So you just have people who are buying sooner. And I know I have people in my life who are like, oh, it's October 1 and they're done. And I'm in awe because that is not.
I haven't even started to think about like prodding my kids to put together a list.
Oh, I usually don't either. But it also, you want to start planning earlier because if you're waiting and you're really like, oh, we'll just wait until November, December, you're missing a huge group. And not just because of people already purchasing, but because of just awareness, getting in front of them, letting them know the types of products you're going to have. Because if they're not those loyal customers, then you need to be in front of them. You need to be letting them know, like, hey, if you have a kid of this age, we have these types of offerings and we have these things. So you want to make sure you've got your brand awareness. You want to make sure that you are like making sure that they are seeing the different products and services that you have available at your disposal, and then starting those promotions. With starting early, the big thing to remember is don't start discounting, right? Like you don't want to say holiday sales from October through December. You don't want to do that. That's not good for you. It's not going to help you. You just want to make sure you are getting in front of the right people.
Yeah.
And the same with all those holiday sales too, because there are so many different opportunities to run sales. And like when you look at the big box stores, it's always something, right? There's always happening this holiday, that holiday. I mean, 4th of July is this weekend. So 4th of July sales are happening. You don't have to do that. And especially as a small business, I would not do that because you're just eating away at your already small profit.
Yeah. Don't take money out of your own pocket just because Walmart's willing to.
Yes. You want to find those events and opportunities that make sense for your target audience. So if it's a time when like Small Business Saturday, I think is always great for small businesses to get out and promote and be a part of that. But just because somebody's doing a Labor Day sale in September doesn't mean that you have to do it. And you might think about those buyers too. Like, is that really who's going to come shop with you? Because for me, the type of toys that we had and the books that we had, like those individuals aren't going to necessarily they're not coming to me to get a deal, right? Like they're coming because of the quality and the types of products that we offer. If they're really looking for those deals and those like cheaper products, that's not who's going to be shopping.
Yeah, those aren't going to be your best customers for sure.
Solid understanding of who you're appealing to, and then find those events that make the most sense and leverage those. Don't do them all because it's just going to stress you out and cut away at those profits.
Well, and I think the other thing to keep in mind is if you wait, to plan out these sales until the moment when you think like, oh, okay, we should start our sale, you're already so busy that you don't have time to make sure you're thinking through, where do I want to place this? what should my ad creative look like? What's, and giving yourself the time to do the right, preparation for this campaign. Also, a lot of that holiday placement, like the really prime spots, are going to be booked, or you're going to be at top dollar, which doesn't do you any favors. So it's another reason to really think ahead of time. And even if you don't know what that campaign looks like yet, start thinking about it so that, again, it doesn't become a last minute expensive thing because you've already got enough on your plate.
Yeah, like that's why right now, really, if you haven't already, you might be a little bit behind the ball, but right now is a great time to plan so that then you can start building it all out and putting together the different pieces.
Well, and making sure you have the right stock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big one. Because for sure, right now is when you're placing those orders for the holiday time. And inventory is a big part of what you're going to be able to promote. And making sure that you get those inventory orders in, or you're not going to have the things. But definitely, like, this is the time to plan so that you can build the creative, place your plans, like order the spots and the advertising that you want to do to make sure that it can start running when you want it to start running. And then also your team's all on board. Everybody in every facet is on board for that season. So when it hits, you're focused on making those sales as opposed to, okay, now I need to make the email for next week, or, oh, what are we going to do next week? And trust me, as someone who's been there, it's hard because you're chasing your tail, but also
it'll
at the store.
That's what I was going to say, is it'll sneak up with you because of everything else.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I think makes this year particularly top of mind in terms of working ahead is that we're in an election year, and an election year that's going to be pretty highly contested. And so anything that you're wanting to run traditional media wise, radio, TV, but also now on the digital side, connected TV, you are going to have a lot more competition leading up to election day because you've got all of those political ad campaign dollars and that you're going to be fighting against, because regardless of who your target market is, those folks also vote. So they are someone's target market as well. Yeah. Let's dig into the media channels that businesses should be considering for holiday sales.
Yeah, definitely. So I can speak to the traditional side a little better, and then I'll have you kind of jump in on some of the digital side of things. So for holiday sales, I'm a big advocate for direct mail. Big advocate. I mean, we've talked about it in previous episodes. It's like September, I feel like, when we start to get the Walmart holiday catalog, which is a lot smaller than when we were kids. But, the Amazon catalog comes out, Walmart, other entities, they start sending out those catalogs really in September. So not saying you need to do that. If it makes sense for you, definitely start thinking about it, figure out how that might work for you. But even the direct mail, as far as just letting people know that you are there, if it's within your budget. Because that was something I would have loved to have done. I did not have it in my budget, but getting in front of different parts of the community who maybe hadn't heard about Paper June. And especially with us being in North Topeka, that came with some disadvantages as far as just not being on the main strips and those main areas where people shop. So I wanted so badly to be able to run like some zip code, direct mail pieces to just highlight some of the types of products we had, ideally reaching grandparents, because that's who I know is going to spend even more than a parent will, in large part, because they have more disposable income. They don't have kids at home anymore, so they can spoil your kids. So direct mail pieces to build that brand awareness, let people know you're there and that you have these products that they might be looking for, is a great way. And although, like the television radio side of things, you are going to combat a little bit. I'm already receiving postcards and things about the different political, decisions and people who are running and all of that. So you're going to have some of that happening a lot more this year than in other years, but still a good way to.
Who doesn't, I mean, when I get this influx of direct mail in, a piece that's really nicely designed, that especially that has, present ideas for kids. Like, even if I didn't have a child I was buying for, I would sit down and look through it because it brings a little bit of joy to your heart. Those election things.
Pretty much. And it will.
But they're important. Please read them, but then pitch them.
It will stand out amongst those things as well, because, right, like, those aren't light, bright, happy.
Yes,
pieces of
for sure.
mail. You know, they're usually, I'm getting all the like lawyers are running our Supreme Court in Kansas. And
Yeah,
it's what I'm getting. So very like meh and dark, you know, but if you have a light and bright and just a fun piece,
it'll stand out.
it'll definitely stand out. So
I think people will hold on to it.
yes. And like, you don't have to do an offer, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to do an offer.
And kids will circle the things they want. I mean, that is
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
how we do it
Make
at our
it
house.
fun, make it appealing based on, you know, the directive of your business. If it's promoting like a new line that you're going to have for the holiday season, if it's talking about, you know, special services, you know, I know that activities, things to do has been really popular,
yeah.
you know, to try to find those kinds of things. So if you're a things to do kind of business, then, you know, getting that out in front of people,
Yeah.
because they're also going to hang on to it, especially if it's something they're not familiar with.
Yeah.
So love a direct mail piece for sure. If and when it makes sense, you know, doing some television, I still think if possible to do some earned media, which is what we do, right? But
Yeah.
that's always great to get in front of individuals that way. But doing some spots on TV during those key times, you are going to run into some potentially higher costs this year with all of that. But, you know, talk to your buyers about what opportunities are available
Yeah.
and how you can, you know, make that work for you. Definitely good. Radio is a great way for just that awareness,
Mhm.
getting in front, letting people, again, know about your products and your services. And if you are using Topeka as an example, you've got a business here. Well, you're going to have people coming to town. Right?
Yes.
It's grand. It was always
Yeah.
go to town. We're going to Topeka
Yeah.
to do a lot of the shopping. So you want to reach those. And even if you are in, you know, if you're in Wichita, you've got those outlying areas. And even, you know, Salina's got a lot of smaller communities. Manhattan does. So utilizing radio is going to allow you to
Reach that bigger geography.
to those.
Yeah.
Definitely doing those. I used to feel like print ads. It used to be where print would be great, right? Doing some stuff in the newspaper, like we mentioned with Black Friday, having those ads at one time was a great opportunity, but anymore it's less and less.
Yeah.
So the one thing with print that I wanted to do and I never got done for Paper June, and we used to do it a lot, I feel like at JHP, was an insert. Right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So instead of being an ad on an interior page or paying a lot to be on the front page or even to be in the ad section, like having a separate piece, you know, like a.
So would you have done like a newspaper insert?
Yeah.
So like the Black Friday, like the newspaper people go and get, or?
Because I even considered it outside of that, right? And one, yes, you're going to have a ton of people who are paying more attention to the newspaper on that day just because.
Yeah, but you're also competing against literally everyone.
Exactly.
And that person is definitely there with the intention of looking for this lowest price.
Yes. So I probably would not have done it during that time. Most likely like earlier would be, I mean, I say that now. Hindsight is 2020, but earlier would be great because then you are going to stand out. Your one piece, you know, they're going to open up the newspaper, you know, unfold it, and your piece is right there. And they can see it, determine if it's of interest, they can hang on to it if they want to, that kind of a thing. So I really loved the idea of being able to do something like that. Didn't get it done, but thinking outside the box is really important, especially for print. Out of home, I think it kind of depends on what the approach is, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think, good in terms of being in front of people, but also that billboard space is pretty small. Yeah. So it's not like you're going to be able to really show the breadth of what you're offering. And to me, that's one of the things that makes that print piece or, you know, TV or some kind of direct mail, like more valuable is they get to see like stuff for the little kids and stuff for the big kids, and, you know, that you just, it's harder to communicate on a very small, relatively speaking, billboard.
Yes. And it's timely too. You know, if you're paying quite a bit to have this produced and put up there, unless you're doing digital, it might make sense for some digital boards if you have good locations and things like that. Event marketing is one that I utilized a lot just because it was a kids store. So we would have like a Santa.
Oh, sure.
And we would do like pictures with Santa, or he would do story time with Santa before the holidays. And so that's going to bring people in. A nice thing for me is that's a great way to just get people in the door to see what you have and who maybe have never been there before. Or we partnered with the local theater and they had, a Christmas show with the kids acting. And so they would come in and do like a little piece of that. Like the last one we did, I think, was Rudolph. And so they came in and they like sang some of their songs. And it was great because you're bringing in the families of those kids who are participating as well as people just from the community. And so that was a great way. So during the holidays, you see a lot of it anyway, but ways to just do some fun event things, hopefully at a low cost to you, just to get people like in the door, especially if, maybe your location's a little off the way, driving them in and getting them just to know who you are, what you have is a huge benefit.
Yeah, I love the idea of the events because you're right. It gets people in that are looking for like seasonal entertainment opportunities for their kids, especially when they are low cost or no cost. Because inevitably, as the kid walks through the store, they have found a few things that they've pointed out. They're like, can I have this? I want this. And you're just like, okay, I'll be back for that thing.
Yep, add it to the list. Or sometimes, grandma, grandpa are there, they're going to sneak back and buy it while the kids are distracted with, what's happening.
I've done that more than once.
Yes. But that's more on the traditional side. And of course, as always, it's not enough to just do one. I definitely wouldn't do traditional all alone. Even if you did multiple, I would 100% say you've got to layer in with some of the digital.
And I think the things where digital really is handy is you are getting people in a couple of different modes. One, when they're researching, but they're at that point actively looking for things. So being in front of them for paid search is great. A Google shopping campaign so that when I'm looking for a specific item, hopefully you pop up there up top because it's just an easy way to pick up that transaction. Paid social, think of an Instagram or a Facebook ad. I am terrible about seeing something that looks so great in the demonstration that they've done that I've never seen before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this person would love this. I'm going to buy one. And like, I've gotten some really good gifts from that, but I've also gotten some where I'm like, okay, I was very aspirational and thinking that my child would love this STEM item. And then it really, like someone's child loved that STEM item, but it wasn't my kids. We ended up donating it. But I think you get a lot of people that will have that impulse buy. Like they feel this sense of pressure that they need to get this gift checked off their list. And so when you can get out in front of them, I think social is a great place for shopping during that time of year. I think any time that you can run display ads, I would not consider a display ad just out generally on the internet to be a big sales driver, but it's a nice reinforcement tool. YouTube and video of any kind is a great way to get in front of people. Video is so versatile, right? It can be video for YouTube, for connected TV, but also it can be in your paid socials and organic socials. One of the things that is, again, it's not really something that we do, but I think is highly effective, is a combination of a really timely email blast. I frequently purchase things from email where I saw it ahead of time, but I didn't transact. And then I signed up because I thought maybe I would. So I got the 15% off or whatever. Then I ultimately end up buying it through the email at full price. Or text message. Yeah. A text message for me is probably not necessarily like a tangible gift item, but like a gift card or something that for a really hard to shop for person. I think I could see myself transacting, even if I don't do it directly through the text message itself. It's that like spur of, oh yeah, and then I hop online and do something.
And I think that depends on the audience, right? Because if it's somebody who is focused on deals and getting, the best, my daughter shops at Aerie. And so I have not yet unsubscribed to their text messages. I usually do unsubscribe because it's just so much. Yeah. Even from emails lately, I'm like, Old Navy.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Every day, sometimes multiple times a day.
Yes. But with the Aerie stuff, it'll pop up. And if it's like a clearance thing, I'm like, well, maybe we should go look. Not unless you need it. Her closet is very full. But it is, like you said, it's a great reminder of like, oh yeah, like I hadn't thought about that, or oh, that's a pretty good sale.
Yeah, no, the sales ones are what will send me to the web. Like, I'm like, oh, what does Dick's Sporting Goods have? What's Academy offering?
Well, and what's so smart is depending on your abilities within your email texting platforms. I know with Dick's, I was able to sign up. I just get emails for their clearance items.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, which is bad for me because I don't need to be out there like, well, look at this one's on sale. So there are different ways that you can utilize that to hit some of those different types of shoppers. And I know you'd mentioned social, and lately I've been reading with Pinterest. I don't know if they actually consider themselves a social platform as much anymore. And I think they consider themselves to be more of a search platform, which is really, I think, always how I've used it. I've never commented. I've shared some of this stuff with people, but I've not engaged with it the same way I might engage with Instagram, Facebook, those kinds of things. But last year, that was Charlie's whole thing. Like, she gave me NOLAs and I was getting down to the wire. And I went out to her Pinterest and I found like a wish list page or board that she had created. And I was able to pinpoint, I'm like, okay. And I was using those to figure out what to buy for her.
And those can be very shoppable.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And even more so now, like they've really, especially in the last year, honed in on, adding more capabilities in terms of ad placements. As a user, sometimes it's overwhelming. I'm like, these are all ads.
Yeah, this is Temu and
Yes. Temu and Amazon, all over it.
Yeah.
But a different place to consider being, again, depending on who your audience is, if that's a good fit.
How should businesses schedule media during the holiday season? Like we've got them in this place now where they're really thinking about it. Let's help give them some framework as to how they approach the scheduling of all of this.
So like you mentioned, we don't want to wait. Don't wait until November, December. So you kind of look at the different phases of your promotion. You want to kind of warm your lead, or just put yourself out there, let people know, hey, we're here. This is what we have to offer. And I would say you'd want to start that in probably August or September, really. Yeah. Just so that you're getting in front, because you want to be top of mind. And that takes time. That's all about your reach and your frequency, getting out there and getting out there often and in different ways. So really starting that warming brand awareness kind of phases.
And is that a campaign that runs for 4 weeks, 12 weeks? Like, how long should that one run? Probably depends a little bit on how quickly they're able to get started.
Yeah. And the buying process of what you're selling.
Oh, sure.
Too, right. So if it is a little longer buying process, then, you might back up from August to like early August, late July to get started, depending on that product. If it's a higher end, more, costs more, you will probably have a longer buying cycle. You're going to want to be nurturing a little bit longer and getting things out in front of them. But if it's more, that quick shopping, you're like a local retail shop. I don't know how to phrase it. I mean, I don't want to say like mid-range, but you're local, you've got different types of goods, maybe it's some home decor, maybe it's, some jewelry and some things like that.
Department store-esque.
Yeah. Then start that warming in like August, September. I'd probably say like 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean you have to be like every single day, 4 to 6 weeks, but, just set aside that budget to allow getting in front of people. And you're going to benefit from that all the way around.
Yeah.
Not just for holidays. But I wouldn't call it don't call it holiday stuff. It's really about that branding, getting your name out there. And then after that warming lead is when you're going to move more into kind of like a promotional phase.
And is that when I would start putting things on sale or doing discounts? Or is this still more like just featuring different items so that it's maybe a more specific message as opposed to the more general, hey, we're here, this is what we do?
Yeah. I think it can be either one, depending on what you've outlined to be for your sales dates. So if you're trying to get ahead of Black Friday, then maybe you're going to go ahead and start running some promotions in October to drive some of those sales. Otherwise, I do think it's good to move from general branding to more specifics into, I don't know if you would necessarily like start talking holidays specifically, but just putting it out there, things that you know or you have flagged are going to be top sellers. But yeah, again, if you do want to hit some or make some sales available prior to get some of those earlier shoppers and to just, beat out the Black Friday sales, then you can start running some things because it is nice to run prior to the other ones. Because, you have those people who are waiting for Cyber Monday. They're waiting for Black Friday, Small Business Saturday. So doing a little bit, kind of at the front end. So those promotional, it could maybe start out just being product based or let it, more specific and then move into. So that one could even be 2 phases, like 1 to 2 phases, depending on what you're doing. Because phase 2, if you're just doing product specific, phase 2 could be like, now we're hitting on, these are our sales that you're going to use versus maybe we're just talking specific products.
So when are you going to start sort of like your very best deals? When should we start talking about those?
Man, I think it's kind of different depending on
your competition, to an extent.
It is smart to look at your competition. Like I said, I kind of like the idea of just getting in front of those major sales. In large part because everybody's doing those. Everybody's doing some form of Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales. So being able to just, get out in front of that, I think is really important. That's what I would want to do. And for me,
well, especially when you're not going to necessarily be able to offer prices that beat the Walmart option or the, Target or Amazon or, I think getting in front of those folks with what is your best deal gives you a chance for them to make that transaction before they see what Walmart or Amazon's best deal is going to be.
Absolutely. And you also have, Small Business Saturdays wedged in between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So if you're not necessarily wanting to run an early, that was one that I really looked at as being kind of like our big sales day was going to be that one. So if you really want to have a specific day of like one day of major sales, that could potentially be one. But you could also argue the flip side that people are going to come out that day to support you because it's Small Business Saturday. So do you really want to run your big sale?
Well, and I feel like there is so much going on that, week of like leading into Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday sales that it feels like Small Business Saturday almost gets lost unless you're one of those people that is like intentionally looking to support small businesses. And so I love the idea of doing something for that day. But I really like this concept of go big a little earlier than everyone else. And
well, you get ahead of it. You're going to get some of those deal shoppers because you don't necessarily know what's coming with the other things. And for Small Business Saturday, one thing I like to try to do is partner locally. Big for those strategic partnerships, local type things. So we would give discounts like if you shop somewhere else in Noto. So it's hey, we're supporting you, supporting our districts. And I would always like have some treats from a local bakery or something, just trying to show like it's Small Business Saturday. It's about local business. Really trying to lift that up within that day. So you can do really fun things on that day without having to use it as a big sales day because you are right. People are flagged and we typically weren't even open. We started opening on Black Friday. We were starting to get some more traffic in the area on that day, but it just tends to be a big box day, So we didn't anticipate a lot. So know your audience, know their shopping cycles, know your area, because if you're the only one open in your, strip mall or district or what have you,
from a retail standpoint, that's not really a good game plan. Being the only one in your area,
it's too much work on the
is asking too much because now you are becoming a destination, and it's just too easy to head out to Wanamaker and hit 5 other places while I'm out doing my shopping, as opposed to like traveling somewhere very specific for a thing and then
absolutely. So you have
coming back to Wanamaker.
That initial, the back and forth. So you've got your early on, your kind of warming, brand awareness. You've got your promotional phase, which is, potentially 2 different phases of promoting what you have and then promoting your big kind of offering that you're going to do. And then you kind of have that urgency or like leading right into Christmas. So if you know what day you're going to be closing, right? So maybe you're open Christmas Eve, maybe you're not, whatever that last day is, there are going to be people shopping on Christmas Eve. There are going to be people coming, even if it's for gift cards, like there are those last minute individuals. So know when you plan to have your like last shopping opportunity. And then making sure that you're letting people know that you are open until then. So making sure your Google business profile, your Bing profiles, all your business profiles online have been updated with the correct holiday hours and information.
Yes.
And then doing some of those, like maybe it's email, maybe it's text message, those little blasts.
Yeah.
Letting them know like, hey, we're still open for that last minute, what have you.
And if you are a retailer that's doing a lot of e-commerce, have some kind of a pop-up or something in that on that landing page so that people understand this. If you want free shipping, this is the close date for getting orders in. If you want expedited shipping that you're going to pay for, this is the date. There is nothing worse than buying something that's supposed to be the big Christmas gift and it not delivering on time.
Yeah, we've definitely had that happen.
And those things, they're going to happen, but if you can help people prevent it, you are keeping your customers happier in the long run. And it's just like the one-offs where the UPS truck caught on fire or, something.
A lot of online retailers have gotten a lot better at that. And I feel like a lot of platforms now, there are widgets or ways that you can get that kind of built in.
Yes.
That is very helpful too. Because that wasn't always the case. It wasn't always something that was as easy to put out there as it is now. So take full advantage. And even if maybe you aren't necessarily like huge on that, but as long as you have a website that they could potentially order from, have something like do a top bar, do a pop-up.
Yeah, do something.
Make it obvious. And even if there's a way to put it on that checkout page too, like,
yes,
this is like, if you want it here by this day, then this is what happens.
It really needs to be on every one of those touch points until I have processed. And then my thank you should be like, can expect your package on.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. And then also, I know we typically don't think about it, but the post-holiday is part of the holiday shopping experience, because you're going to have some who they don't do their family holiday until later. Maybe it's not the 25th, maybe it's later on. And so they might not shop until the sales. Like I've done that when I know, if we're not getting together with my brother's family until later, I'm like, well, I'll just hold off a little bit. So letting people know about, the post-holiday, if you have sales, and expect people are getting gift cards. So they might come in, they might make exchanges. All of those things are going to be happening.
Did you see, I feel like maybe it's because I'm such a great shopper. I feel like there's not been as many returns in the last couple of years from my family. Like, I don't know whether that's not as much like of a thing as what it had been when I was growing up, but it used to be inevitably there was like this whole stack of gifts that you got that didn't fit or wasn't really what you wanted. And so we always had to make a trip to town to go shopping post-holiday to get all of those returns made. Yeah. Is that still a thing? Because I personally have not experienced it.
Yeah, I haven't so much with my kiddos either, but I think it kind of depends. Like these days, when we were kids, we're like, I want this thing I saw in a commercial or whatever. Or it's aunts, uncles, grandparents. They're not asking. They're like, I'm going to get you what I'm going to get you. And then your parents can deal with it. But nowadays, like with Charlie, she's making a Canva presentation. She's using a Pinterest board. Like I'm getting very specific.
Yes.
Item.
Well, and with the advent of online shopping, now it's not like, well, these were just the sizes that were available. So I thought that this one might work for you.
Yes. That is one thing I have had to teach her. Because I'm like, Miss Ma'am, this is a large. You're an extra small. So I think we've got to make sure that when you're flagging these things, you put the right size in there. My niece has been doing that for years too. Like she'll send like even a snapshot, like a screenshot of things that she wants, and it has the color selected and all the things. Like so essentially it's like registries. Here's my Christmas registry, and you buy from it, which And some people probably don't like, and some people will probably love being able to do that.
As the family resident gift buyer, I appreciate it. It does feel like it takes some of like the fun and excitement of like, oh, what am I going to get away maybe from the kids. But also, we don't have the years where someone didn't get the thing they really wanted and they're disappointed.
Yes.
Because I don't remember a lot of that from my childhood necessarily, but I was disappointed when like inevitably the great pair of jeans don't fit because they're too short or whatever.
We ran into that a little bit with Charlie, but we gave her a gift card she wanted a specific pair of UGG shoes, and I was not going to get the right color or the right stitching or whatever it was. I'm like, here's a gift card, you can get it. Well, the gift card that we got for her, I didn't realize they don't do special orders, and they weren't carrying those at all. And it was a whole thing. And so she ended up buying different shoes with that gift card, and Santa brought those Uggs this year for her. So he was able to find those. But yeah, I mean, that's really the closest that we've had for it, just because, especially with her, and we'll see with my boys, she's very specific on what she wants.
Yeah.
They are less so. Like Hank's birthday, well, Charlotte's coming up too, but Hank gave me a birthday list, and one of them says cat suits. We have 2 kittens out. They're about 9 months at home in cat suits. Because at my niece's wedding, for her corgi, her friend sewed her a little flower girl dress.
Oh, okay.
And so Hank now thinks our kittens need some clothes.
Now, see, in my head, if that had been my kid, I would imagine him wearing a suit with a bunch of cats on it.
Or like a cat head to wear with a suit. That was for the kittens.
That's great.
For the kittens. So that's what I really could have messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. What needs to happen before a campaign launches so that your investment in your holiday campaign isn't wasted?
Yeah, so all that starts now, right? Like make sure you're planning for all the things, that you're setting aside budget, or you have a good idea of what budget you're going to have to be able to spend the things. And a lot like most campaigns, you want to make sure that your offer is clear, that it's easy for them to access. You know, if it's print things, then you've got a website listed, QR code, easy ways for them to then engage with. On the digital side, obviously, when they click it, it needs to go to.
Yeah, I say make sure on the digital side, make sure all of your tracking's in place so that you can understand when I ran my ads here, it resulted in this on the website as opposed to over here that only did this. Because that's going to help you build historically based off of, okay, last year we were promoting children's books. And this avenue worked really well. This one didn't. We're not going to do that one this year. Based off of what we saw, we think maybe this is another alternative that we should be trying.
And if it's for a specific product, make sure it goes to that specific product.
Oh, please. There is nothing worse than when you get the list for the kid, like, you know, basically the registry, and it takes you to essentially like the home page. And you're like, great, thank you.
That's not helpful at all. But I would say, like most campaigns, you start from the beginning with that planning, and you're thinking through all of the steps. What's our messaging? What is our, imagery going to be? And what's the look and feel of those ads? Making sure that you have them all created in the different specs that you need. If you need anything to be printed, make sure you know all those deadlines so that you can get those ordered and then out within the right time span. Especially like direct mail, right? Because if you want them to hit at this time, that means they need to mail out at this time, which means then you go to the printer at this time. Making sure you have all of those ducks in a row. You have identified your measurements for success so that you can, apply all of those metrics and the tracking and make sense of what's coming in.
If you have not gone through the buyer experience on your website, this is a great time to do that. Because you don't want to make it any more difficult for someone to purchase something from your site than, just make it as seamless as possible. So use this as the reason to go through and do a test purchase from your own site and see what that experience is and figure out if there are ways that you can kind of tighten it up or make it a little bit more user-friendly. Because hopefully this is when you're seeing your highest level of online sales.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to find that out in the midst of your holiday season.
Because then you've got tons of other things that need to be, happening, you don't want to be spending your time trying to diagnose the e-commerce issue.
Yes. Yeah. So just
Your agency also doesn't want to.
No, not at all. And think through not just the steps of, okay, this is the placement, these are the actions, but the post-sale action as well. You know, making sure that you have thank you messaging going out, making sure that, you know, if they are shipping, that there's something there to say it. If you're allowing for pickup, you know, making sure that you're detailing that information for them as well. Just think through the whole buyer experience, make sure all your ducks are in a row. And if you making sure that you're using the different creative, right? Because we're talking about a warming phase and a promotion phase. And, you know,
that creative has to change throughout that process.
Yeah, make sure you're switching it up, that it aligns with that specific phase of your campaign, for sure.
So we get to the end of the holiday. We're done. What needs to happen post-campaign?
Yeah. So like anything, you want to be able to look at all of the tracking information, all those metrics that you've been pulling in. Depending on your business, it might be just looking at your overall sales so that you have those comparisons, those metrics for future. You can go compare to past. If you're looking at specific products, making sure that, you know, you're identifying those different things as well. I also like to look at the different channels to see how they're performing, because if there is one that's underperforming, then you know, like, oh, maybe let's put less into that, or maybe it's underperforming because you didn't put enough into it.
That's fair.
Being able to really analyze each channel and how they kind of, you know, worked together as well. I would know more on the traditional side. You would be able to speak to the online side as far as like, I can say, okay, we drove these, you know, many, we hope. Sometimes I can say that. This QR code.
Sure.
Drove, you know, this many over to you. And from there, we can see, because maybe we see a drop off, maybe only, you know, 5% click through from there, you know, and make a purchase. So being able to identify along that path.
And I think it's really important when you're going through that exercise, physically take notes, whether that's you're typing it, you're writing it down, you're doing the voice to text. Put those somewhere, because inevitably, even though it feels like you're never going to forget, by the time you get back into the cycle 6 months later, you will have forgotten.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Diligent note-taking, and breaking it down into the different phases. So that, you know, I mentioned channels, so looking at the phases too, because maybe you're realizing that you didn't get much happening in that warming phase, or maybe within that warming phase, it was actually like, oh, we really didn't get responses till later September. So just being able to identify what's working, what's not working, so that when you start planning for the next year, you have, I mean, we're data girls. We like to have that. We like to be able to say, like, this worked because this didn't work because and with that information, you can make some stronger decisions moving into the future holiday season.
I am a big fan of following my gut, but I don't follow my gut when the data tells me that something worked really well, even though in my mind, maybe it didn't feel like it worked well. Sometimes it's because my expectations, like it didn't meet my expectations, but then the data shows it did work. It didn't maybe work at the level that you thought it was going to, but you know, sometimes that's just my, like, again, lofty expectations.
That's what's nice about the data, right? So it can say, like, okay, you were wrong.
Yeah.
I'm okay with being wrong as long as it means you're doing better.
As you say, when it shows me this is how I can improve for next time.
Absolutely.
The you know, cardinal question that we ask at the end of most episodes, what is like the one biggest takeaway that you think a small business owner or marketer of a business as they're heading into holiday season should remember from this episode?
Don't wait. Get started. I mean, really, definitely like know by the end of July what you're going to be doing. Like have that plan all ready to go so that you can start, you know, building out the pieces so that they can start running when you want them to run. I think for me, especially when I did own my business, waiting until, you know, November, December, I'm like, oh yeah, now it's holiday season is too late. It's too late. And, you know, one thing we didn't talk about in here, maybe a little bit at the beginning, is checking your inventory.
Oh, yes.
You know, because the other thing you don't want to do is drive all this traffic and not have enough of the things.
Yeah, because that, especially if you are bringing in new customers, if you bring them in just to disappoint them that the thing that they thought they were coming here to buy is no longer available, that is a big problem.
Definitely when you're promoting specific items. You
Yeah.
know, and if you only have X number of them, but you've got an ad running for, 4 weeks or what have you.
That could be a real problem.
Yeah. And if you run out of inventory, make sure you're communicating with someone to take down that inventory that's no longer available.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I really think the thing that I would use as the takeaway is use this as maybe your reason or rationale to test pushing your offer out a little bit earlier than what the big box stores are. And when I think about that from a budgeting standpoint, to me, that looks like, hey, let's say we're going to run from mid-October to mid-December because we're going to kind of wind down. I would go through and front load that budget and hit, October to mid-November really hard. And then I'd probably only use about a third of my budget that last half because I'm just trying to stay in front of people at that point. I really am relying at that point on that first half with the bigger budget to get in front of the folks that I think are really going to come and shop. Then this last third spend is just like, we're still here. We're here. Yeah. Don't forget about us. We're here.
For those last minute people or those who haven't gone out yet. I think that's a great point.
Yeah. But I do think that it is really try to understand who is coming into your store and what are their buying habits like, and tailor your entire sales experience around what is going to speak most to them and their decision-making process.
Absolutely.
Well, that was a very, I think, thorough look at something that I had really never given a whole lot of thought to. I mean, having not run any kind of a retail shop, I am just on the buying end where, I see ads and it really does make a difference. So thank you for sharing your personal experience.
Learned a lot.
Yeah.
Happy to share that with people and excited about how that can benefit our listeners.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up another episode of Beyond the Buy, where we dig into the strategies,
trends, and tactics.
Thank you.
Affecting paid media today.